Hi, Libra. This is your April astrology reading for all Libra signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I always want to throw out there, see what my cat was doing. I always try to throw out there, if this one isn't necessarily resonating with you, check out your Sun, your Moon, or your Rising, depending on why you're here at the moment. Because you may be vibrating with your moon sign more than you are your sun sign. Just depends on where you are on your sensitivities and what's going on in your life and how you feel. You may be really needing to follow your Venus sign right now because of sensitivities. So I try to throw that out there, give you a better, well-rounded look at where the different videos and why you may want to check out the other ones, as well as if none of them seem to resonate, you might just want to check out the tarot. You can always check the playlists to see which ones you want to look for, plain and simple. With that being said, if you are a Libra and you are a Moon or a Venus sign, I am definitely getting more into your emotional depths. Long story short, because Venus I don't see as love, I see Venus as sensitivity, whether that's positive or negative, and where that takes you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And then the moon is just your emotional depths anyway. Now, you are really, either you are doing the work or they're telling you you need to be doing the work. Really on getting to the depths of who you are, because there's some deep hidden self energy that is either coming up, showing itself, making you more aware, or you're coming into overcoming insecurities that you've brushed under the carpet and wanted to forget about. Libras, I give you guys a hard time because I have a lot of people who I care about that are Libras, and I see it all the time. Libras are so big on, wanting harmony and balance and justice, but they create it for everybody but themselves. And this is why I give you a hard time, especially with the energies that we are seeing over the next year. It is incredibly crucial for you all to realize your self-realization in this world and your personal foundation, and making sure that it is healthy, that it is strengthening your self-esteem. I don't know what's going on. For some people, maybe you're moving, because I'm getting movable property over and over and over again. For some of you, you might be moving. Maybe you're thinking about taking action and moving. Maybe you're buying property. For some of you, it's just possessions. Things that you can purchase, like a cell phone and take it anywhere with you. Movable properties. But I'm getting just shape-shifting in general. Travel in general for some of you. Some of them, some it's short journey traveling. Some it's full-on travel. Some of them it's moving. But this also has a lot to do with your will, and if you will it to be so. Being responsible to yourself. In some cases, this may have to do with government situations, work, career. In some of the government situations, it may even be dealing with government offices, court, jail. There's definitely a lot of judgment or personal judgment. You're returning to evaluate your upbringing, your roots. There may be some kind of major important conversations or communication that needs to be had with yourself or maybe siblings or neighbors. I get a lot of throat chakra, which typically is you standing up and saying what you have to say, being able to express yourself, or is speaking about you needing to hear what someone else is trying to express. Or what someone else's interests are, and you need to understand that better. But I'm getting creative expression in some way. Could be hobbies, personal interests of some form. All right, that's pretty much what I'm getting from Spirit. Now, Libra, first off, okay, I'm gonna get into your first house in a minute, and you have the full moon coming on the 7th in your first house. So you're definitely feeling the energy building and the release is coming up. But for some reason, Spirit is just massively all over me for, I want to say, from like the 16th through the 25th in energy. And I'm going to go over which houses that is because it's Aries and Taurus as the sun goes from Aries into Taurus. And then you have the new moon in Taurus. And on the 25th, Pluto actually goes retrograde. So, Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. Pluto is always. Pluto, when Pluto goes retrograde, he doesn't turn inward because Pluto is the only one that is always inward. But he's like Mars, your inner warrior, your inner passion, action, aggression. He's your inner soul fire. And he's the transformation of making that happen. Now he's in shadow up until the 25th, which means he's kind of looking at darker aspects. That's in your inner emotional security, your home, your personal foundations and your roots. Where your personal foundations are the roots that created you, either strengthened that inner emotional security or destroyed it. And this is where you're getting to know the true you for however it is that you've turned out, good or bad, positive or negative, seeing yourself for what and where you really are and how it's become that way. Now, that's not about pointing fingers. That's about coming to realization about your inner emotional security. Pluto is trying to get right with your child, your inner roots, your inner you, because that's where the flame of your soul fire has to be rekindled. And that's where the personal foundation starts. It's in shadow, so it's really probably picking on you about it. At least about things that you need to learn to address, to stop brushing under the under the carpet, and not be in denial about, because these are things that will help you overcome those insecurities. And the more you do that before the 25th, the less hard that becomes for the more or less the rest of the year while it's in retrograde. So the more right you get with soul now, or with self now, the might be hard on you at the moment, but it'll be better for you in the long run. Now, either you have an Aries of significance, because right when I came in here, knowing I was doing Libra, I was about to start the video saying Aries. And I was being given two specific things. Either it's the Aries of an Aries of significance that you're going to be dealing with, or it's because they're talking about this energy going from, like from the 19th through the 25th, when the sun actually moves into Taurus. So I've been telling everybody it's more like from the 16th through the 25th, and through that new moon in Taurus. And it's starting in Aries. That's your relationship zone. Yeah, it's your 7th and your 8th house. And when Spirit gives me an image of like ego relationships, like your inner ego demon creating false, unhealthy relationships. And Aries, this is talking about, for one, you have Chiron here, which is the wounded healer. Talking about creating new relationships, new healthy relationships, by learning from the past of where they've been unhealthy. Now, contracts have been rewritten. And so relationships that were are done. That doesn't mean a contract couldn't be renewed, but that contract is done. Things are now shifting. New relationships, new beginnings, new cycles. And what I'm being shown is, don't go down the same damn cycle again. From the image Spirit is giving me, just don't continue to go down the same cycle again. And this is with your relationships and the rules of the relationships. For you, it's a brand new cycle of relationships. Healing from poor relationships. Now, relationships are all kinds of different relationships. You have relationships with your loved ones, with your spouse, with your children, with your parents, from your working environment. You have a relationship with your money. When you have no money, you know about your relationship with that lack of money. So this is being truly responsible in these relationships. Truly fair, truly honest, truly just. But Taurus is that 8th house where the rules of the relationships are. And Taurus rules the 2nd house typically, which is self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And that 8th house is where you lose your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem within these relationships. So either you have it, or you've lost it, or you're learning how to create it. But Taurus energy can be very controlling, manipulative, and possessive. Now you're coming into a new moon, setting new ideas, new boundaries, new independence, new individuality, new truth, new freedom, new values. Don't start them possessive, because that would be the lower vibration of the Taurus energy. And the only reason you're possessive in relationships is because you have insecurities. And the insecurities are not part of the relationship. It's part of the problem of solving your own self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, which is your inner emotional security. So you are looking at these relationships and truly trying to find security in your life by balancing your worth, your freedom, your independence. and standing in that power, that security of trusting within yourself to do it. And for some of you, it's a separation from the way you've always been. Maybe a separation from from relationships itself, but I'm getting there's action that needs to be taken in these relationships as you come into this new beginning, this new moon on the 22nd in Taurus, where the sun and the moon both are here with Uranus, liberating your inner truth within these relationships so that you can transform and grow, not just for the relationship, but more for yourself. But when you grow and you give yourself that self-love, then the relationship, if it's a real relationship that's meant to be there, will also grow. So this is getting right with yourself so that you can get right with the relationships and the growth and the true rules of these relationships. The two joint efforts, joint finances, joint resources, the truth. What are the rules in the relationship? Now, you're going to be noticing that pretty much through, like I said, the 16th through the 25th. Extra emphasis on that. And on that inner emotional security. Getting to the roots of understanding who and why you are the way you are, why you tick the way you do. What is really who you are versus the way you were brought up and the way you now know that you really are, and can you shift into your truth. Your first house is where you have the new moon coming in on the 7th. This is back to the same kind of conversation. Taking action in this area is what Spirit is saying. This is coming into acknowledging your true awareness, your true self, your true core, your view of life, your identification, your image, your personality, even your physical body. This is the bulk you when someone first sees you. And how do you want to be seen? Is the awareness of the first impression. Well, you also have here in Libra with you at the time, you have Make Haumea and Ura. So you have the collective consciousness, sacrifice and commitment to that very self-image, that self-truth, your true personality, your truth. To shining in who and what you are. Illuminating who and what you are so that you're being seen. So it's coming down to figuring out who you truly are. Investing in you. Putting that commitment there. And blooming. But that also is straight across from the relationship zone and the rules of those relationships. So are you putting yourself on the back burner again? Or are you making sure that the foundation of these relationships are fair? And that they're what you want, not what you're just going to go with. Because transformation can't happen. You'll end up going down the same damn cycles you always have. This is about, reestablishing new healthy relationships, starting with yourself as you move down, down the road for the next however many years. I just keep getting told self-esteem, 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 self-worth. And for somebody's moving. Like I said, I'm getting movable property. Maybe it's shape-shifting the ego out of you. I don't know. All right, let me go from here. There's nothing else going on in your second and your third house. But I'm thinking a lot of what we already said pretty much already covered that communication with yourself, having the proper communication with the outer world. Spirit just keeps saying this has a lot to do with your own personal inner judgment on yourself. And will you mature and grow and illuminate? Will you be optimistic enough to illuminate? To believe in yourself, is what they just said. Your fifth house is your inner fun, your inner creativity. Saturn just moved in here for the next 4 months before it retrogrades back into your fourth house. This is giving you the opportunity to stretch your wings and to try new things. This is giving you the opportunity to express that inner creative expression. Whether it's dating, whether it's your personal interest, maybe you're an artist and you paint. I don't know. Maybe you're a writer and you're taking the time to write. But this is the whole point. Are you taking the time for your personal interest, for your fun zone, for what makes you happy, what makes you enjoy living this life? Because Saturn is here, you also have Ceres here, and Mars is here. So you have the threefold running through it. You have Mars giving you the balls and the courage to step up and make these changes. But Saturn is also stretching his wings for the next 4 months. But this month is when Saturn is illuminating that inner child, that inner sacral chakra, that inner sexuality. That inner of how you feel about yourself. Do you feel good about yourself? Are you confident? This is illuminating the creative expression in confidence and taking the chance to go after what you really want without having to answer to anybody, without worrying what other people think, believe, want, or need. This is about saying, I want this. I want to try this. I want to do this. I need this. This is part of your fun, your enjoyment, love relationships, hobbies, personal interests like painting. These are all part of what you are. And if you're not being able to be part of what you are, then you're losing you. And Saturn is giving you for the next 4 months an opportunity to stretch your wings and start back building some creative changes here. But this month you've got Mars going, I said now, take some action. Let's do this now. But you have Ceres here, which is making you a little curious about the threefold, about the karma. So for some of you, this is past situations, or afraid to move forward, afraid to try these new things. But Ceres is also speaks to you about what you nurture or what you neglect. And if you neglect putting that energy into you, well, then won't have that energy into you, period. Then it will turn into the threefold of you don't have it in you at all. Ever. You've lost you. You've lost that fire. This is what I'm saying. I'm getting that do not start these cycles again. Take the chances. Step out of your comfort zone. It helps set the new direction. And you've got the first 4 months of a little bit of that opportunity before it jumps back into that fourth house and starts really tapping back into your inner emotional security off of what you've done for the next 4 months. But this month, it's about step into it and try. We already went over your 7th and 8th house. So your 9th house is where Venus is. It's moving in on the 3rd. This is where I call your higher self. Then Gemini, you kind of want answers for the higher self. You want it to be understood. You want to be able to research your ethics and have something back it up. But then at the same time, you're either emotional or logical. Venus is here asking you to trust your senses. She's asking you to trust your feelings. Trust your spiritual urges. Trust what your higher self is telling you it wants and it needs. Because that's ultimately a growth. But she's also going to tell you where you're scared of yourself. Because Venus, like I said, is not love. She's all about your sensitivity. Emotionally, mentally, physically, or spiritually. And Venus is in your spiritual house. Your philosophy, your religion, your law, your ethics, your morals. Your higher understanding of truth. And this is asking you, what does that higher self, what does your higher consciousness, what does your soul tell you it wants, it needs, it believes in, versus the gut feeling telling you, I don't trust this, I don't believe in this. Trust in that feeling. Trust in what your spiritual truth is telling you, because it's setting you in a direction. Now, your 10th house is honor and reputation. It's also the career zone, financial success, and social foundations. It's the outer authority of your life and responsibility in that outer world. You have Rahu here, which is the North Node, and it's only going to be here for 1 more month before it actually jumps into that spiritual house. This is asking you, what is the outer world doing for you? What is that outer world? Is that outer world helping you nurture yourself into that honor, into that reputation, that prestige, into the career and financial success that you want? Are you being viewed that way? Are you going into that proper opportunities? Are you going in that way to nurture yourself in healthy ways? Or are you neglecting it, which is actually taking from your social foundation because you have a poor social foundation, which will lower your financial success, lower your honor. And if you're in that lower vibration of that outer authority right now, it's also going to be lowering your value. It'll be lowering your self-realization because you're hanging out with lower vibrational people. Higher vibrational people will support you, will support your true, real self coming into truth, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, and going after what you truly want to create. Lower vibrational people won't. So this is about truly, are you nurturing yourself or not? You don't have anything going on in the 11th and 12th house, but you are definitely still feeling that 12th house, because that's what I was thinking when the phone went off. You're still feeling that 12th house, but this is good because if you're doing it from the 1st house, you're actually setting new personal foundations. You're moving forward. You're getting right with who you are. You're rediscovering who you are. And then you're being able to put it in the outer community. And the more you do of that within the next 4 months, the better off you're going to be, because you're already ahead of the game. I love you guys. Bye.